She gets into position. She's looking good, and she lets it fly.
Okay, what is happening?
Gets a wide open look. Pucks it in!
Yes. Still got it.
Yeah, sure.
So, summer is in full swing, and with most of the province moving into stage 3, we can all now safely and responsibly enjoy the good weather.
And for some of us, that means enjoying our beloved sports, whether it's on TV or in real life. So now would be a great time to work on those skills that have turned a bit rusty during quarantine.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone can be as good as me. That's okay.
Actually, I was thinking of giving it a go as well, so maybe we should.
I feel like I say this every episode, but what are you doing?
An album cover shoot. Watch, this is me trying to do 1984 by Taylor Swift, okay? Just cut off her face.
What?
Oh, and then there's David Bowie cover. Hold on. Draw lightning. No, the other way around. I don't know how to use this. And then.
Okay, maybe you don't have to do that. That's a lot of... You don't...
No.
Well, the residents at Sidmar Lodge in Edgware, UK have definitely been doing a better job. No offense.
Yep. Recognizing that these residents have been in lockdown for over 4 months now, the facility's activity coordinator, Robert Speaker, decided to help them get creative to cure their boredom. So, he decided to have them recreate iconic album covers.
Specker then shared the images on social media, and the response was amazing. Some of the covers looked almost exactly like the originals, and others might even be better. From Adele to David Bowie, the residents covered a lot of eras. Take a look.
And Speaker said that it was an absolute honor for him to entertain these residents during these trying times.
I think Groot wants to give it a shot.
I got my eyes on Groot.
Now that is an aesthetic.
Speaking of aesthetic, Seneca Newnham's CITE building, which stands for the Center of Innovation, Technology and Entrepreneurship, designed by the Toronto office of Perkins and Will, has been recognized by a leading architectural trade magazine for the incredible structure that it is.
Yeah, Metropolis Magazine praised the CITE building for its creative design strategy, including open concept classrooms cleverly shaded by trees. They stated that it's an incredible site on Finch Avenue and grabs the attention of cars whizzing by.
The CITE building was also recognized for integrating the history of Canada's First Nations into its contemporary structure. What is known as the Circle of Indigenous Knowledge is the focal point of the atrium and features symbols of tribes hailing from the Great Lakes region to the Arctic.
Pre-COVID, this was a natural gathering spot for events. The medallion was brilliantly designed in conjunction with community groups and Dean of Students and Indigenous Education, Mark Solomon. It's really important to us because it signifies Seneca's commitment to Indigenous education and cultural awareness, and we are so proud to have it recognized on this platform.
Oh, hey Devin, I have a joke about Star Wars,
Okay, let's hear it.
but it's kind of on the dark side.
Okay. I have a joke about coffee, but it's a bit bitter.
Okay, I have a joke about Lake Ontario.
But it's a bit watered down?
Okay, that is not how this works.
Sorry. So, in case you're wondering what's going on with all of the terrible jokes, it's not just us. It's all of Twitter actually, and it's this week's social media trend. You pick a topic, and then say you have a joke about the topic, then you come up with a clever pun for why you're not actually able to tell the joke.
For example, I would say that I have a joke about Canada, but I can't tell you about it. Sorry.
It's simple, but coming up with them is a lot of fun, and reading through all of them on Twitter gave us a really good chuckle this week.
So apart from these punny dad jokes that you apparently can't tell us because reasons, what else have you been up to?
Okay, so this week I have something that is probably pretty predictable for me to be sharing and listening to, but this is a safe space and there's no shame in what brings you joy. So I've been listening to a podcast called An Oral History of The Office, and as you can probably guess, it's about The Office. It's hosted by Brian Baumgartner, who plays Kevin Malone on the show, and he's basically taking you behind the scenes of the entire show. So he interviews cast members like Steve Carell and John Krasinski, and he even talks to some of the showrunners, the writers, the executive producers who made the show possible. They go over everything from how rough the first and second seasons were to all of the success and them still kind of coming to terms with the incredible success it's had and that they can't even believe it. But it's really, really interesting to listen to, and as someone who just really likes The Office way too much, I love hearing behind the scenes and hearing the cast talk about the show more, and then it just makes me like the show even more. But it's also just a really well produced podcast, so I would highly recommend checking that out.
People ask a lot about chemistry. What is chemistry? Chemistry means that there was no other person who made me feel more like Pam than John Krasinski when he was being Jim. There was something completely effortless about being Pam when I was around him.
So this week I read a book called The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, and it blew my mind. Now, I read a lot of sci-fi fantasy, so when I say a book is weird, I mean it. And I must say that this book was incredibly weird. The story of the book is a bit complicated for me to explain, but I'm gonna try, so bear with me. Imagine that every city in the world had a human avatar with a soul. This book follows the avatar of New York City, which has been weakened in a battle with its enemies. As it weakens, its soul essentially divides into 5 boroughs, the 5 boroughs of New York City. Now, time passes, and these 5 boroughs also develop souls of their own and become 5 individual people. These 5 people have to work together to find the original human avatar, restore its strength, and defeat the enemy that is still bent upon destroying New York City. Like I said, it is definitely a bit of a complicated concept to wrap your head around, but it's so well written that you actually won't get lost when you are reading it. And it also discusses, in a subtle but powerful way, issues such as racism, police brutality, and just growing up as a person of color in a supposedly multicultural city. So you essentially lose yourself in this setting that is kind of familiar but also a little foreign, because it's not the New York City that we are generally used to reading or watching about in movies. The characters are incredible, especially the rapping grandma who you're rooting for the entire time. The conflict is gripping, and by the time you finish the book, you realize that it has been such an incredible journey, but also you've learned so much and come out with a different perspective that you didn't necessarily have before. And N.K. Jemisin is a black female author, so reading about New York from her perspective was very insightful, and it's so rare to find these gems in the sci-fi fantasy genre, so definitely elevating these voices. Go check it out.
And yet again, we'd like to thank John Krasinski and the Some Good News Show for inspiring us to spread the good news. If imitation is the highest form of flattery, we have definitely flattered the heck out of SGN, but thank you again for inspiring us to keep spreading the good news.
And once again, thank you to everyone who's doing their part in flattening the curve. We hope that you are maintaining safe social distancing and wearing your masks. It's the best we can do right now. So continue to stay safe, stay healthy, and always look for the silver linings. Thank you for watching.